Welcome back, everybody, to another White Elephants live stream with your host, David Feiner. Right. Or at least that's what people say. So we're doing another live stream today. I should be doing homework. I have priorities. I have things that should be getting done. But you know what? I'm going to be a bad boy today. Let's all procrastinate together, shall we? Let's be doing things. Let's be doing bad things. Let's do things that we're not supposed to be doing, right? I know you guys like to be bad. I know you guys like to be bad. You guys like to talk about things that you're not supposed to talk about, So we're doing another Discord show today. It's my favorite thing to do. I don't like sitting here and just talking to comments. I like talking to people. It makes it easy too. I get to just sit back. You guys get to just put in all the work sometimes. I get to just sit back and eat my invisible popcorn while you guys battle out to the death sometimes. I would love to have Dr. Strangelove on the show. I would love to have another one of my favorite people, Sun and Rad. To anyone that wants to come in, I am totally for it. David seems to be very pleased with himself today. Yeah, I'm always pretty pleased with myself. I am. I like myself, I'm one of those I'm one of those millennials that isn't totally like depressed and that kind of stuff. That's poor me. I live in the first world country. I've never seen a dead body before, but I'm such a whiner, right? I will have to say, though, this week and next week are going to have to be a little on the shorter side, though, unfortunately. It's just I'm going to be really busy. Like, trust me, guys, I love doing the long streams. I love doing the 3-hour chats on here. I like doing the 5 to 6 hour stream, 5 to 6 hour streams, IRL. I really like it. I like hanging out. I tend to be a very cave person. I like being in my room. I like having my space. I like being alone in my thoughts. Like, honestly, if Asian Andy ever watches this, if you want someone to do the isolation stuff, I could do that. I love being alone in my thoughts. You could even put me in one of those, what are those things called? You go inside these chambers, and they did it on that, show with that little girl where it's like an isolation tank, I think, where you go in and you can't see anything. It just shuts off a lot of senses. And when that happens, somehow it does something. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do it. Flotation tank. Yeah, something like that. I've always wanted to do it. I might have to do a stream like that. Of course, you guys won't see me actually do it because I can't go in and do that. A deprivation chamber. Yes, I believe that is what it is. If I ever get really, really big and I have like money to be able to do fun stuff, I would do that. That seems cool. I like testing myself. My weakness, I have like 2 weaknesses, like heights and a lot of water. Water terrifies me, and not in just like little amounts, but in massive amounts. Like the idea of falling off a cruise ship and being in the middle of the sea, it's, the idea of like drowning itself is just not good. It's not a quick little, not one of those. It's a struggle, It's like getting impaled or something. It's not a quick little death. It's like a very short, long. I mean, I wouldn't want a quick death either. Like, it is nice to kind of have one of those slow deaths where you have time to really look at your life and really, like, what did I do in it? Did me existing, did it contribute to positives or negatives in this world? Did I even matter if I didn't exist? Would anything have changed? Like, if you have one of those slow ones, at least you can think about your life and that kind of. And a quick little one, like, let's say you're in a battle and you're fighting for the ethno state or whatever have you, and you're just all right, let's go, and you're running out, and boom, you get shot from like 2,000 yards away from some sniper. God, that would suck. That would suck, you know. Everyone wants to go out in the, you want to go out and you fight your adversary, and let's say if you lose, at least you put in a good fight, and or at least you saw it coming, right? Whereas if you get hit with an arrow from yards away, or you get shot with a sniper, or if you get hit with a missile, and you're holding on to the fence and your skin's getting blown off, you can't really do anything about that. Kind of sucks. Lisa has tried out the deprivation tank. It was awkward for me at first. I was distracted by my heartbeat sounds. Yeah, I feel like if I'm in there, I do a lot of the like itching, touching areas. Like, sometimes you do that when you're just, when you don't have a phone or something, you start doing weird stuff. You look nice today, from Sierra. Thank you, Sierra. I actually don't have most of my clothes here, so you won't see most of my collared shirts that I love to wear. Hey, Dave, you phobia has a fat Jew stealing your hat. That's true. There's a certain somebody that stole my hat. And that wasn't just like a jokey joke. Oh, I just stole your hat. Whatever, bro. Ha ha ha. Funny, funny. No, that was like I stole your hat and I threw it into a bush because fuck you. Well, you know what? You start doing that to people, all of a sudden, people aren't gonna like you. All right. Well, I kind of went on my little rant. I don't know where that was going. Bruno was on that stream. Yeah, you saw it, man. I'm not lying to anybody. I don't do that, This movement is all about the truth. It's all about honesty. And that's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to the truth. And you have people like that saying one thing, doing something else. You guys are too smart. You're way too smart. IQs are off the charts. And someone like that isn't going to be able to fool you, They can only say one thing, do something else so many times before smart people like you decide to say, hey, you think I'm stupid? I'm unsubbing. I'm not going to give you Patreon money anymore, or PayPal money, or I'm not even going to watch your shit. Or if I do watch your shit, I'm just going to shit on you and dislike your crap. All right, so I'm going to open up Discords. Just so you guys know, we're going to keep it kind of short today, maybe like an hour and a half. We'll see how it goes. If the chat's kind of, if it's kind of like not flowing very well, I end it early. If it's flowing well, cut limits 3 hours. So the shortest is an hour, maximum's 3. I got stuff to do. I'm kind of procrastinating, but at the same time not, because I told you guys I would live stream as much as I can. David, I think you're a good judge of character. Yeah, I'm honest. That's why I get blocked by people. That's why I'm blocked by, Fuentes, JF, I give my 2 cents. Like, I'm not a hater. Look, I'll just say, hey, in this situation, you did this. I'll give you reasons for why I think that was stupid or whatever. I'm good at judging people by patterns and behavior. I don't really care what people say. I care about what they do. Everyone should judge that way, because that way you can see what people, if someone says, oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it. And then you've known this person for a few years, and every single New Year's they say that. And then every New Year's they go to the gym for 2 weeks. Then they quit due to, I only did it because of my work, but I'll go next week. And then boom, they quit. And you notice that pattern, and you're like, dude, you're always saying you're going to lose weight, but then you do this every single time. So I also do, I haven't done it recently because of health issues, but I used to do MMA all the time. So in MMA or in sports in general, you have to read someone's body. You have to read, if I throw a feint at you, how are you going to react to that feint? If I react and I pretend to throw a jab and then you move backwards, now I know maybe I could feint with that jab because you're obviously afraid of it, and maybe I can go to your body instead with the right hand. So it's a lot of judging based off behaviors, and it's kind of how I'm worked. Someone could say anything to face, but I don't really, doesn't really matter to me all that much. I told JF you could make a sexy host. I did not know he blocked you. He doesn't know who I am, and I took, look, on the original Andy Warski versus JF stuff. I took JF's position because I was like, Andy Warski, like, you keep saying like, oh, I don't get to talk on my own show, but I could have sworn that this show today was called Sargon versus Spencer. So why are you surprised that you don't get to talk that much? I mean, this wasn't about you, right? You're just a moderator. You're just supposed to sit back and interject whenever you're supposed to, but this isn't about you. It's your show. I get it, but this episode is not about you, so you should not interrupt. Like he kept saying that, and it's like, dude. So I took JF's position on that when they got into that little argument, and then the next one where the Jay Dyer was kind of beating up JF, and then JF blew up on Andy and started calling him low IQ'd and shit like that. That was his mask coming off. The mask started coming off because of the stress, and then he said that, and then he tried to fall back on it and say this other bullshit to try to save face, but I didn't buy it. You can't catch me with that crap. You can catch other people. There's a lot of loyalists out there that just ignore it. They're like, oh, I'm pro Andy or I'm pro JF. And I'm like, look, I agree with JF politically for the most part. I don't really know Andy's point of view. But as a person, behavior and the way you treat others, I think like I would be friends with Andy. So I'm caught in like the middle here. But yeah, I was telling Jeff, I said on Twitter, I was like, look, you're being this, I don't want to sound like a boomer because they use this all the time. But I was like, look, you're acting kind of like a snowflake here. You're blocking people, like some people you could block, right? Like when he talked about why he blocked V, I mean, it made sense. I mean, he blocked them and then they went and they started fighting and it literally was like agree to disagree. But at the same time, look, it's very mentally weak of you to block people. You could just ignore them. You could just talk shit back. Like to block people that talk shit about you, but at the same time you're trying to tell me. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I was waiting for it to be read. I guess since I'm on this new platform, I had to fix that. Mel Gibson, 138, 199. Thank you, sir. Did you measure his nose when the mask came off? Who are we talking about? Are we talking about JF? If you're talking about baked, I mean, the only other person that has a bigger schnoz than him is probably Ice Poseidon, but we all know Ice Poseidon's Jewish. Like he's not trying to hide it or anything like that. But with JF, I just thought it was beneath him. I just think, look, someone as smart as you, like, why are you going around blocking people? It's very weak, and not only that, but like, who are you to tell other companies like you have no position on censoring now because you're going out and you're doing the same thing they're doing, and then baked is another one who's doing it. He's like, oh well, Twitter and GoFundMe and PayPal, they're all getting rid of me. But at the same time, anyone that questions him on his chat, boom, banned. If you question him on Twitter, boom, they're blocked everywhere. So, I'm basically pro free speech in some ways. If we could ban certain words, like let's say white privilege and racist and racism, you say those things and you get like fined $1,000. I think that would be really good for society. But I would say, and I am pro free speech, and therefore I try not to block people. The only time I ever do anything like that is when I think someone is going to, like if someone's trying to get my information and do bad things with it. So like if there's someone following me and they're just going to keep quote tweeting me and saying like disgusting things, I'm usually, I think it's fun. Someone wants to talk shit, I'll talk shit back, You want to throw a poo at me, I'll throw a poo back, But it's just when things get like serious kinds of things, like I got into a fight with someone in the movement, and so then I didn't want that person to get any, screenshots or anything like that from me or take any of my stuff. So I decided to block them. Like if it's serious, I'll do it. But for the most part, if someone wants to talk shit, I'll either ignore you or I'll go back and forth if I feel like it. I'm not going to go block every single person that criticizes me. I want the criticism. I want someone to say, hey, look, David's new platform, like all of this, I think it looks like shit. I wish you went back to the last one. I'd say, okay, I want that criticism. I want you guys to be telling me if I'm doing something good or bad. I'll I'll get all of that, weigh the pros and cons, and then I'll either go forward with it or I'll just say, hey, for these reasons, I'm not going to listen to you guys. But I like it. I think it's a very strong mindset to have. Blocking people and ignoring, you could do it. Like if you want a safe space, that's fine. But at the same time, if you're a libertarian, seems a little funny to me, being a libertarian means you're pro free speech and those kinds of things. But, it's kind of like, what would that be? Like free speech for thee, but not for me or something like that. Yeah, it's one of those people that are like, oh yeah, I'm totally for the majority of people doing this, but not me. So it's kind of like the whole trad thought kind of thing, Lauren Southern, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I want the whole nation to be Christians and I want them to be super trad, but nah, I like being degenerate. And seems like that kind of thing, right? If you block people, you lose. Of course, life isn't so black and white. There's a lot of gray, probably more so than black and white. And so I would say not in every single scenario. Some people deserve to be blocked, and some people are just like if someone's harassing you, that's the whole point. If someone harasses you, block them. That's the whole point of blocking. Before politics, it was like someone was harassing you, someone was stalking you, someone was like going after you. That's why you would block these people. That's why you get like a restraining order on these people. It's only turned into politics now people just block people for, oh, like you're right wing or you're a Trump supporter. Oh, I'm going to block you. I'm going to unfriend you. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And you know what? That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with people cutting people off, because then that forces all of us to find new friends. And, like all of you guys, I never would have met any of you guys if not for this whole political movement. I'd probably, I don't know. I'd probably be out being degenerate right now. But I'm a libertarian nationalist, so I do like being degenerate. So just so you guys know, I'm not trad or anything like that. I've never claimed to be. So there is the disclaimer. So I am a proud trad thought. No, I'm not kidding. Well, I wouldn't be a trad thought because I never claimed to be trad. Okay, so I think I've gone off the rails. Oh, by the way, new show. So I'm not just going to let people fly in as they normally do. I'm going to pull you guys over. So if you guys want to come in and chat about whatever, jump into I think it's the waiting room, on-air waiting room. And then I will pull you into the on-air. I have not tried it yet, but I think it should work. So if one of you guys, because no one is, let me refresh it just to make sure. I don't see anyone in there. So, okay. So I'm going to need one of you guys to get on the Discord, jump in the on-air waiting room, and I want to practice pulling someone into the on-air just to make sure it works. So. But if no one joins in, I'll just do one of my OG shows where I'll just sit here and I'll just talk into the camera and I'll just go on rants. And, yeah. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Trolling and scummy shit are not the same. Yeah, there's a difference between obviously trolling and harassing somebody. But trolling is another whole little thing too. Because, like, I go, like, for me, like, trolling would be going on to, like, BuzzFeed posts and telling people they're wrong, and I would give them reasons for why they're wrong. But then I would get banned because I would say it in a triggering way, like they have a picture of like a woman saying, "Oh, like today's like Women's Day or something. Aren't women so great?" And I'd say, "You mean great at making sandwiches?" Something along those lines. And then a bunch of people, they have no arguments. Maybe a couple people might go back and forth with me, but it always ends with them, you know, reporting me. So it's a very boring thing to do. Sierra, random question. I love random questions. I don't like normal questions. I like them random. Are you a video gamer? Well, I would say that I used to play video games all the time. Like middle school. Well, I played a lot of video games in like elementary school. Me and my friends would play PlayStation, Nintendo 64, a little bit of the Dreamcast, a lot of PlayStation 2. I used to play a little bit of Xbox in the original Halo. Oh, that was like the biggest game. I used to go to this cyber cafe next to my elementary school. You give them $1, you get like 20 minutes. I used to play the original Xbox, then moved up to the Xbox 360, and I used to do a lot of Xbox Live with Halo 2. That was probably one of the games where I would miss school just to like play that. I really played that game. I was really, really good at it. And then moved up to like Halo 3. Of course, it wasn't as good as Halo 2 and then Halo 4. And then Gears of War is one of my favorite games. Halo 2 and Gears of War are like my favorite games. And then Gears of War 2 was a piece of shit. And then Gears of War 3 was an even bigger piece of shit. And then Gears of War 4, or I forget what they call it. That was pretty good, but still, they never fixed the shotguns. The shotguns were always crap. I haven't played any games regularly. Like, I don't have any games that I'm like so into that I have to play like I used to. And Bruno, someone in VC? Yeah, where's Michelle Elephant? Oh, we got some people in here. I don't know who either one of these people are. Who the hell is Nicker Lives Matter? You see, you guys keep changing your names, so I have no idea who you guys are. Okay, so I'm going to try to pull over Grizzly Saxon. Oh. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Freaking mic isn't working. Let me redo it. So stupid. Where's audio at? Where's okay, here we go. Let's reset voice setting. Okie doke. I don't know why this happens. Alright, let me unmute myself. There we go. What's up, Grizzly Saxon?
Hey, phone posting. Sorry about that. Just
cool.
making sure this stuff works.
Awesome. Yeah, this is cool because you know what? I had to say, sometimes my shows get taken over, or should we say subverted, by some people sometimes. And so I thought it would be a good idea to manually control things so I could pull people over and all that kinds of stuff. Let me pull over No Lives Matter because he's a good guy. He's a good nibba, all that stuff. What's up, No Lives Matter?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we don't want them taking over the stream.
And by them, we're talking about the Knickers. They're always coming in here going. I don't know what that means. I really don't.
Said just
that was nice guy.
posting.
Was that nice guy?
I could have sworn it was a nice guy.
If it is him, that's serious because he's the one always putting people in purgatory because we're being degenerate and making slurp sounds. Is pretty damn degenerate.
He's a cheeky guy. You can't stay mad at him.
Yeah, it's impossible. He's like my right hand man, honestly. He's like my Goebbels.
Yeah. Good lad. He's a good lad.
I've only been in here for a little while, but he seems like a good lad.
Yep. Look at this. I got this last year where I met Asian Andy. Got my Twitch cup at TwitchCon in Long Beach. It's good stuff. You have a Twitch. Yeah, I have a Twitch. I just don't use it, but I think I'll make it. Once I have more time, I think on the weekdays, I'll probably do like a Twitch gaming show. And so instead of just bringing you guys on here, I could bring you guys on. We could practice our group preference, right? We could practice being a collective. We can practice being a team. No more individualism. No more being like independent, right? We're part of a team, and in basketball teams, you have to work together if you want to win. I've played sports my entire life, and they've always said we have to be a collective if we want to win. And I think all of us in here, we need to, we have to be. If you're part of the David squad, I don't know if that's good or bad or cringy, but you have to be, part of the collective. We have to work together for this thing to work. Hey there, David. What's up, Buzzy? So No Lives Matter. Do you have anything to talk about?
Oh, dude, I was just going to help you test that VC thing. I'm actually delaying going to the gym. So, guess I'll shoot off and talk to Saxon if you like.
Oh, you're on. You're going to go to the gym?
Yeah, Matt.
Oh, what are you doing today? Stay at legs day?
It's always legs day on strong lift.
Oh, okay.
Deadlift today.
Oof. How's your form? Is it pretty good?
I try and keep it strict, yeah.
I've been using dumbbells when I do them.
I'm only up to 3 plate, though. It's pretty weak. The dead.
3 plates, I mean, that's where I like to stay. Like at 315, keep it on 3 plates for like squats, deadlifts, and bench. Just kind of, I think that's...
Yeah, you don't have to go hunting for plates that way.
That's all I'm hunting for. I was talking to Vincent. He said he could bench 315 6 times. God damn,
6 reps at 3 plates.
I've never done weights. I've climbed my entire life to keep fit.
Oh, you go
climbing's probably better for you. You get in the air and get that grip strength up.
Yeah, I've been doing it 15 years. I guess I'm pretty strong, but I think I'd try to lift, but I don't know. I just never gotten used to lifting big ass weights.
Damn, I wouldn't want to get finger banged by you. Got all those finger strength, You probably.
Don't worry, I won't finger bang you.
You could probably, because I know with climbing, it's all little joint strength. It's not really the big muscles. It's all the little stuff.
It's big on grip strength, yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess there's some training you can do. I do antagonist training, so I work out the muscles that don't usually get used climbing, like push-ups and other calisthenic workouts to assist in the climbing. Anyways, it's fun.
Yeah, I went to a climbing gym a few months ago, and it was pretty fun, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of heights, so it's the higher I go, the more I'm like, fuck this. So that's just me, though.
Yeah, no, I don't usually do the tall shit. I do what's called bouldering. It's short, intense climbs, really intense for just about 15 feet or 20 feet. No
Good.
rope.
Oh, look at Sierra here. She says, at the gym, I always do 150 reps on every machine and cardio after. That's such a woman workout to just do so many reps.
Yeah, you're not going to get big that way. That's more a strength thing.
Well, I mean, women can't get big and the only way you can get big is if you're on testosterone.
On juice, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some women and they're I saw this chick. I used to go to Gold's Gym. and I used to lift all the time. There was this chick that would walk in, and fuck, man, her legs were bigger than mine. And like this chick had to have been on
Yeah,
steroids.
imagine being a watermelon there.
Fuck, I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, right? One of the watermelons. See, that's your head right there.
Yeah.
Gets ripped clean off. Like, that's like a Mortal Kombat fatality right there.
Well, with lifting, you can get pretty big without the juice, right? I mean, I've never done lifting seriously, but I've seen some pretty big dudes that don't seem like they're on juice.
Well, if you ever want to
There's
be...
a way you can tell. If their shoulders are larger than they should be, that's a good indicator that they might be on juice. Also, another one that I learned recently was if you see those massive guts that are distended and they look kind of fat if they're wearing clothes, it's another sign of the possible juice use.
Yeah, I'm not one of those spurgs, and there's many of them that go and they basically call anyone that's like has bigger biceps than them. They say, "Oh, they're on the juice. They're what do they call it? Natty, I think they call it."
Natty, yeah,
Yeah,
it's natural.
Yeah, and so they're like, "Oh, that
Yeah.
guy's on steroids. This guy, you see like a lot of MMA fighters, and that's like one of my fields I I know a lot about. And they call they go after basically like every heavyweight, especially like Alistair Overeem. They're like, "Oh, that guy's on steroids. This guy's on steroids." And in the case of MMA,
It just reeks of crab in a bucket, doesn't it?
it's like, look, there are some people that I will say I think they're on something, but I'll have more reasons than, oh, his muscles are big. Because if you want a big red pill on people are different, go into bodybuilding or sports. Because people that are in there know that, hey, this guy, I could train more than this guy, but this guy has better genes than me. So he's always going to blow me out, or he's always going to have a better physique than I.
Yeah, I think that's 100% accurate. Genes definitely play a big role.
Yeah, when it comes to sports, people cannot deny it. You go up to people and you talk about race realism in a physical sense, and they will never deny it. So you could say, "Oh, so I can just grab any rando off the street and like if they're a baby, and I could train them to be as fast as Usain Bolt." And they'll obviously say no. It's just they have this weird mindset. I feel like that it's like, oh well, people are physically different. You can see it, but on the inside we're all the same. But that's not how like evolution works. You change from the inside out. There's things on the inside that make you different on the outside.
No, dude, that's horseshit. Evolution stops at the neck, all right? There's no way that behavior can be determined genetically. It's all environment. How am I doing for being a lefty fag?
Yeah, I think there's a mix between what is that like? How you're brought up and how you're born, like your genetics and what's the other one? What do they call it?
It's definitely mixed.
Yeah, it's mixed. I don't know what the percentage are, if it's more genes than anything, but you can grab someone from Africa or from some village and pull them into an alien society where they have they have robots now and they're doing all this stuff. And if that person has a kid and you just see how that person progresses, I think, when you're a baby, no matter what you are, I don't know the difference, but basically, they're smart enough to where they could absorb a whole language. A baby can learn a language. Like a baby is smarter than all of us. And so it could absorb all this stuff. It could absorb the culture. It could absorb the behaviors, understanding all these things. And I think they can basically absorb.
It's not so much that they're smarter. It's more just that babies have very plastic brains.
Like a sponge.
Their neural pathways are just easily refired.
Yeah, so I think that
So
person from that village, they can accumulate all this stuff, but at the same time, they still have the genetics of someone that was born in this like a cave person environment. So their genes are similar to that. So I think their IQs would be based off that. Like I don't think, and then obviously the other people, since them as a people, they're so technological and they got there. And on a biological level, I think they would just be greater. They would have as internal entropy says, genetics basically determine capacity.
Yeah, I don't think I would disagree with that. I think I was one of those the lucky gene types where a guy can pick up a physical sport and be good at it and shit like that. It's laughable when people say genes don't matter, or race isn't real, or we're all the same, or the genders are equal, or all this equality bullshit. I don't understand how someone could seriously, I don't know, pretend that that's the case.
Yeah, the whole racist realism debate, I was like, why are we debating this? I mean, I live in a very multicultural area, so it's obvious that people are very different. You go down the block, you look around, you're like, oh, okay, things are like this. You go up the block and you look around, okay, things are like this. And then you look around in a good area or a bad area, and they look very different. And I'm not saying it's like Big Katia said, 80% nature, 20% nurture. I don't know about 80-20, but I do know, like, for instance, you're having one group of people, if we're going to use IQ and we're going to make it into, let's say, in a video game sense. You start off in this video game, you're part of blue team, and because you're part of blue team, you grow, you start the game with a handgun. And then you have the red team, and red team, they go into the game and they have a rocket launcher. And so you're having these people, they're in this game, and they both need to reach 10 kills to win. And they both have weapons, so it's fair. And they both have the chance to kill each other, so it's fair. Kind of like in our society, everyone has the free chance to do all this. No one's being discriminated against or anything like that. But you have one group of people with a handgun and another one with a rocket launcher, and we're somehow surprised that the one with the rocket launcher has way more kills than the one with a handgun. So it's like, yeah, I mean, they're both equal and they both have the same chances to win, but one has a rocket launcher and the other one just has a little handgun. So, that's kind of the way I see it. I think that's where inequality comes from. It's when you mix a bunch of people together and you're somehow surprised. Wait, did someone join in here? How's that even possible? Oh, people could join in? Okay, so, I don't know how that works. Obviously, I didn't lock this up good enough. I'll have to figure that out. Okay, but basically, I think that's where inequality comes from. When you put in people with high IQs, when you have East Asians, they're doing better than Europeans. It's why in the past, I think it was 18 something, basically, Europeans were like, hey, no Chinese in this country. That was the first time they ever did a race-based immigration. It said straight up no Chinese. It never said no blacks, never said no Hispanics. It only said no Chinese, because they knew that the Chinese would do better job than Europeans. And that was back when race and nation were tied, interconnected. So obviously the politicians and the people in control knew that, hey, if we bring in a bunch of Asians in this country, they do a better job than our actual native people. And if they do that, our native people won't have jobs and they'll have lesser quality of life. That won't be good. We won't get their votes. We'll be pissed. They'll be mad. So no Chinese. Let's stop immigration of them. Keep the Europeans here. But it came from that race realism perspective of knowing that, hey, look, we're not the best at everything. These guys, and we could see this by observations, they are better than our people at this. So therefore, for the betterment of our own people, making sure that they're not homeless and stuff like that, because we have loyalty to our people, we're not going to, let them come in. But what the? Oh, Michelle Elephant, you are a traitor. You let people in without asking me. I cannot believe this betrayal. Can you believe this? No Lives Matter. Wait, who's in here?
Sorry, what?
Can you believe Michelle went against me?
ML Mitra.
She started letting people. You know what? Screw this. I'm not going to name this on air, but we're going to name this let's name this we're going to name this the ethno state. Ethno state. She let someone into the ethno state. Can you believe this? We have a legal process about getting into the on-air ethno state. That'd be funny.
and he just jumped the border.
Yeah, and she just like look at ML just jumped the border, and she was just whatever. She just let him look.
It's all.
Look at the caravan guy right here. He got in through the caravan. Oh man, it's funny. What's your opinion on this stuff? What's your name today? ML Nikra. Nikra. Wait, who left?
Rip.
Oh, he bounced? Oh, shoot. Well, that was the, was he back in? Is he talking? I see his name going
Connection
green.
issues?
So sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my name was going green. Nothing was coming through.
Oh, that's weird.
No. I once I realized it was locked, I was like, no, I'll just keep my fucking mic on like mute. But because I was like, yeah, he probably fucking wants me to fuck off, and he's just trying to, like give those subtle hints. So yeah, I'll keep my shit on mute, man. I got it.
No. I'm just saying that like it's nice to. I have to do this for the debate tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do the debate. I think I'll have push it back to next week because one of the guys said it would be easier for him to do it at 7, but I am like hounded with like projects and stuff, and I'm procrastinating right now. So I think I had to cancel the stream tomorrow. But I was setting this up for the debate so that I don't have like 5 or 10 of you guys shooting in and jumping on a analytical chick, trying to,
jumping rank and stuff.
Yeah, I don't want like 10 or 20 people jumping in and saying, hey, fuck you, you Jew, and all that stuff. So I'm trying to keep, not only that, but I did want to see like, how Vincent and Ralph, how they pull people over. So it's nice to know that I know how to do that. Buzz?
Okay. As a heads up, I definitely noticed in stream chat, I think it was like J22 or some guy had that name. He was trying to hop on air. He was trying to join in to make comments.
Oh, was he on air?
He'd be able to.
Oh, well, if you guys sit in the on air, I'll look every now and then to pull you over. Don't give up. I will see your demands for to come on. I see Buzzy 181. David, are you a member of the Proud Boys? No. For better or worse, I am not a Proud Boy. I've had people ask me to join it back when it was like really hot and all of that, but for the most part, I see the like, do the Proud Boys still exist? Because for the most part, I don't see them at any political rallies. I don't really hear about them anymore. And a lot of the people I know have actually basically left the Proud Boys because they don't like being told what to do by Gavin or their chapter in general. Does anybody know? No one knows about the Proud Boys? Well.
Yeah, I hear it's the rank and file that I hear they're pretty woke on the JQ, but it's the leadership that tries to stifle it. I need to talk about that.
Yeah, that's the major thing. Well, no lives matter. You said you got to go lift, right?
Fine, I'll piss off. Have a good stream.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, weren't they like? To me, real fast, they were kind of seemed like they were touted almost as like a older Boy Scout style group of like camaraderie, talking to fucking other people, whamming.
Yeah, I would say that's a good description for the group. They were a group of guys who were come together, and they would get blackout drunk together, and they would be political from time to time because Gavin would kind of tell them when they could. He's like, oh, well, if it's for Lauren Southern, yeah, go over there, be political, go protect her. But if if you're just going because you want to stand up for the free speech, don't do that. We're not political when it comes to free speech. We're only political when it comes to pussy. And a lot of people got angry about that. Then Gavin started saying, "Oh well, all right, well if you go to political events, you don't represent the Proud Boys because I'm afraid of getting backlash and all that kinds of stuff." Are the Proud Boys still a thing? The Proud Boys are civic nationalist frat boys. Yeah, I mean that's the best description I know of. I like them, but one of my problems is at least the ones in my area tend to act a little kind of like a gang a little bit. Like I said something on my Facebook and they took it the wrong way, and next thing you know, I'm getting like threats of violence and stuff, and I'm like, holy shit! Like you guys are acting like Antifa now, Like this is pretty crazy that I say one thing and then you're jumping on me like this. But that's not all of them. Of course, I had some good ones, and they were telling me, they were telling me some information about them, and then I had some other ones they just don't like criticism, right? So, I mean, I'm not anti-Proud Boy, but I criticize people. I criticize a lot. When Trump is doing some bad stuff, we got to speak out. We got to speak out about our friends. We got to speak out about our movement when things aren't going well. If you don't speak out, don't cry about it when things don't go your way. That's the main thing on that. But I guess we should get into some of the topics that I titled this stream. Just so you guys know, I was very last minute on titling the stream, so it's called some weird stuff. But Commies, Socialists, Warski, and Mythical Creatures. So, to the people in here, what is your thoughts on communists and communism in general? I'll start with Grizzly Saxon. What are your thoughts? For some reason, I cannot hear you, Grizzly Saxon. I don't know why. And I had to mute myself because these dogs are being extremely loud outside. Yeah, I can't hear you. I don't know why. Is it my mic? Is it? No, I got it at full power right now. Eternal Entropy subscribed. Awesome. I don't know why I didn't get a notification of a subscription. Yeah, I rarely get subs, so seeing that I'm actually getting some subs one day. Huh. This is actually very white pilling, knowing that I'm getting subscriptions. ML Nikra, can you talk? I want to see if I could hear you.
God hates Jews. God hates Jews. It's great news. It's great. Does that work?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know why I can't hear the other fella we got in here. If I were you, I would probably leave and then I'll pull you back in and hopefully your mic works. If you want to jump in on the call, get in Discord.
Wait for it. Have you tried turning it back off and on again?
Yes. I heard that's actually the number one way to fix things.
I mean, you can go through those 4chan scrolls of that like ITT tech support. There's some great shit in there. That's predominantly, people. Yeah, where they spend like 6 months literally just restarting computers, and like you find out by the end of the thread, it's like the dude doesn't know how to run a server, so he just has to restart a server like a computer, which is literally almost all IT problems.
All right, Grizzly, say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you well. So, what is your opinion on commies and communists?
Commies and communists it's just like a pretend political structure based around a failed economic ideology that produces nothing but starvation and death.
Yeah, but it's a nice theory, isn't it?
It just hasn't been tried before. I think the main gist of communism is, as much has been attempted, we've just never met peak communism yet. And when we get there, I'm sure we're all going to be enlightened and become part of the liberalist movement.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
until that time, I mean, I've seen it fail over and over again and just amount to nothing but death, destruction, starvation, and all manners of other isms.
I will agree. We've never seen that power level over 9,000
No,
communism
I
yet.
think it's only reached 8,999. I think.
Yeah. Well, hopefully with Bernie Sanders, hopefully he'll get it over the 9,000 wall, and he gets it in there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Also in Britain, we'll see if Corbyn can, push the envelope a little bit and make sure that Britain becomes the new communistic superpower.
Yeah.
Well, I had a question about Britain that I was hoping one of you guys could answer. And I believe it's like Khan made the statement of like living with bombings in London is just part of like living in a big city, but you don't hear Tokyo getting fucking, suicide bombed.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I've talked to commies about, I guess, Japan when it comes to the ethno state, and they're like, but look at the birth rates and look how bad they're doing economically. I'm like, but look how not terroristic their entire nation is. And they don't have much to say. I'm also like, look at Poland. I mean, it's like the most based, country in the Eastern in Eastern Europe, and they're like, well, no, they're too nationalistic. They don't allow anybody in there. And I'm like, well, that's the point.
yeah, I don't understand that whole mindset of everyone should be allowed everywhere. That doesn't make any sense. Like, and it's that same like cancer of the brain that's like, oh well, men should be allowed in women bathrooms, and like every single person should be allowed in your country. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, that's retarded, and secondly, I guarantee you, the person saying that lives in a gated community with security out the front, and they live in a very homogeneous little circle within a multicultural bigger circle, and it's a very funny thing. But I think when it comes to communists, I ask like commies and communists just because or communism because commies themselves, it's always they all always look the same. They're always a bunch of weak. They got the glasses. They can't see very well.
Emaciated hipsters.
Yeah, a lot of they got the beards. They got the skinny arms. Never played a sport in their life. Never took a punch to the head. Uh, they talk about how they're going to fight the aristocrats and all that, but at the same time, all they're doing is talking about getting rid of one people on top and replacing it with another one. And
well, it's also funny because don't like 97% of them still live with their parents? Wasn't that like an actual stat about Antifa?
Oh yeah, with Antifa. So Antifa, they're basically, from what I've heard, and because I used to be in the neocon circles, and they're like, oh, they're just fascists. But I guess the consensus is that from what I've heard, is they're anarcho communists. So anarcho in the way of they want to destroy the current order we have, and then communists in the way that after they destroy it, they want to replace it with the hammer and sickle. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, well, I always thought anarcho-communist was a little bit of an oxymoron, because if they're looking for anarchy, there wouldn't be a state, and communism is like nothing but the state. It's an increase in power of the state to the point where everything is controlled by the state. So I thought their entire movement has been a meme since it all started, but these guys take it really seriously, and I don't understand.
Well, out of curiosity, do you find it weird that they want a communist state yet are posting tweets and all these videos from iPhones and basically everything that's like not communistic shit?
No, it's incredibly ironic, and that's what keeps me laughing at them every single day. Their entire political movement is based around the eradication of the capitalist structure or the patriarchy or this and that. Yet everything they use to further their political movement was developed by the patriarchy and capitalism. It's incredibly hilarious that they don't even see how ironic their entire movement is.
I mean, isn't that the whole point of being like, a homeless looking hipster to, it's the irony, bro.
Irony bros, right?
I guess, but it just doesn't help them. It never will help them.
You know what I've noticed too, and I've met two communists at my school, and they were saying how the main thing I throw at them is I'm like, oh, well, your ideology has killed like 100 million people. Like, how could you be for something like that? Like, you will say the Nazis are so horrible and they're so bad, and when you think of evil, you think of Hitler, but Hitler only killed, you know, 6 million, but then communism has killed over 100 million. Like, how can we not talk about the Holocaust, but we can talk about, you know, gulags and people being purged in Russia? You know, like Stalin killed 20 million, Mao killed like 80 million, I guess is the math. And that seems, you know, if you care about people and you care about life and you don't like people getting shot in the face or starved to death, you'd think you'd say, oh well, the Holocaust is one thing. You know, it's only 6 million people, whatever. That's bad, sure, but that's like, you know, the hammer and sickles killed so, like, the death count is like not even close. So I've never really understood that point.
Well, it's not just that. I think we're underestimating what the Holocaust killed. Isn't the real number 6 gorillion?
I've heard that that's part of the estimates. Yeah, that's, you know, 6 million, 6 gorillion, billion. Well, I think doesn't it go like million, uh, billion, trillion, gorillion, I don't know, sub million, a zillion. You know, this, you know, people have different numbers, different, you know, things like that.
Yeah, it depends on how much of a Nazi you are. I think the least Nazi you are, I think it's what like 4 million, and the more Nazi you are, it's 6 gorillion. Isn't that how that's how it works?
You know, also according to that, didn't I think according to it, like 6 million Jews were killed, and then like gypsies and non-Jews, wasn't it even a higher amount that were supposedly killed? Does anyone know?
That's what I heard. I don't know the actual numbers though.
Because that's also weird too. It's like, why are we so focused on Jews when, you know, you could say Hitler was pro-German, and obviously there was, you know, gypsies, uh, you know, did he go after any other people that were like non-German? Like, did he
Like
take
the
out like
Polish?
Polish? Yeah, yeah. Do you know or no?
Germany banned a lot of people for talking about the the atrocities that happened in Poland. You know, despite the Jew count, I think that was pretty awful.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't really know much about, you know, like I know the general concepts of like what happened in World War II and all that, but I'm not one of those people that's like researched it in depth and know all these things. Because some people, they could get into the details of this stuff, but I just, you know, I don't really know that stuff. Like even some people who deny the Holocaust, I don't really uh, know their points. I just know that they talk about, I think it was Auschwitz, and they will say that due to certain factors, being the doors, there was pools and stuff, they'll argue that there was no gas chambers. Um, but I think that's only at that death camp, right? I don't think they say that there's no gas chambers in general. It was just that one place that they're arguing over, right? Do you guys know?
Honestly, I don't know the real deets. I just know that I think the Polish fought against the Germs, and the Germs were like, I'm gonna fucking kill all of the Polish," and they did a good job at that.
Yeah, you know, the English and the French did that for a long, long time, but the difference was they didn't say we're killing you because you're French, or we're killing you because, you know, I don't know, because we're just trying to take over your land or whatever. And that seemed to be, that's not really controversial. But the minute you say I'm killing you because you, I fucking hate that you say Sacre Bleu all the time. It's a whole different story. It seems like, yeah, it just seems weird to me. You know, it's history is it's just so much propaganda and stories and blood, but we only focus on the people that are like, oh well, I'm driving the sword into your chest because I don't like the way you look. It's like it shouldn't really matter, you know. It shouldn't matter why he's doing it. It's like obviously it's you know, you should be treating it all not good. It shouldn't be worrying about the reasons why they're doing it. You know, it's and if you do worry about the reasons why they're doing it, you should be worried that the communist people has killed more people in history than anything else. So you should be worried about those ones. You should be worried about, Islam, who tried to take over the entire world with the Ottoman Empire until the Deist faults decided to stand up for themselves. But we don't really hear that. Those ideologies, Islam and communism, are probably the most dangerous things we're fighting. But instead, we hear about people talking about Nazis all day. Like when's the last time you saw and the Nazis we're seeing too? We're not seeing them even look like Nazis. The pictures I see, they have uniforms, they're dressed clean cut. They look athletic guys. That kind of stuff. Yeah, but like the people we're seeing are these like Southern dudes. They got like beer bellies, got long beards. They look like bikers and stuff. And I'm like, and then they're sig hailing, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, I guess you would consider that neo-Nazi, not a, not an old school one. But I never really understood that either. It's like they might have a swastika on their arm, but they don't actually look like they understand the points of what it is to be National Socialists and all that, because they don't look like it. At least the communists all look the same. The ones from before and the ones now, they always look like a bunch of weak little soy boy fags. They're on point. They understand, how to portray themselves. But when it comes to the National Socialist people, not so much.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we see with neo-Nazism right now, sadly, is a lot of LARPing and fat people.
Yeah, Joe Blow says that in the comments. He says the modern Nazi is just degenerate people LARPing and have no idea what NatSoc is about. They play into the Hollywood narrative they want. I mean, if that were true, then they would at least try to look like the Nazis in those movies. But instead, they don't look like it. So I don't know if that would be true. Yeah, I don't know if that'd be true. Every other mass killing used bullets and mass graves, not gas chambers and all that stuff. I mean, that's also one point I always thought was funny too. Like, why would they do these? Why would they go and get gas chambers and all this? Like, if you were trying to take out a whole bunch of them and you couldn't do it directly because they outnumbered you or something like that, then you would probably use some underhanded means like, a disease or poison someone's drink or like lock people's doors or something, and you see gas coming in through the floor or something like that. I could see that happening, but if when you take all these people and you're like, all right, we control all of them, and we're like, all right, we're gonna build gas chambers and then put them in it, and then they're all just gonna like get gassed, and that's how we're gonna take them all out. I don't know. I guess if you came over the mindset of like, oh, let's be nice to them, kind of like put down an animal, you inject them, and then they just go to sleep forever, kind of thing. I guess I could see it, but yeah, it's never made sense to me. Like, what was it? I think it was in a Spanish War or something like that when they found someone that was like a traitor. They would just put something over their eyes, and then they would just shoot them. Line up. They put the thing on you, or you turn you around, and then they shoot you in the front or back of the head. And that was kind of it. They just, line you up. So I always thought that was a little funny. Any points from you guys on that?
No, I see it how you see it, I guess. That's the execution squads, the right-wing death squads, playing their part in World War II.
Yeah, so let's talk about the next part. The next part is we're going to talk about socialists and socialism. So what's your guys' takes on both of those, the people who believe in this and the belief itself?
I don't know, but I see a lot of liberalists or British people in general kind of being soft socialistic. And I see, the majority of people on the left today in America right now are leaning towards soft socialism. It's never helped anybody. It creates want, and it creates lack of responsibility. It creates a status where people have to rely on the government to be their fathers or their breadwinners, rather than creating like a, you know, I don't know, a state where if you work, you earn money, and if you don't, you just don't. I don't know how else to deal with that, but that's what socialism is. It's the gibs for nothing, the gibbing for nothing. That's all I see it as.
Yeah, that whole mindset of I saw like a meme on it. Basically, like you work and the government will distribute everyone's wealth. So like you could be the CEO of a company and you could be working 10 times harder than the guy at the very bottom who has just a basic job, who maybe just has to clean the toilets. And that guy gets, even though like the amount of work is different because they're supposed to be treated the same, they would both have the same pay. And so not only that, but
Yeah,
anything.
I don't mean to sound racist, but it doesn't matter how much gibs we give out. The gibbies are going to keep asking for the gibs, and that's not going to change. It's not going to change as long as we keep giving everyone who wants money. No one's ever going to pick themselves up by the bootstraps when the government's taking care of every single living need that they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, if they could ask someone to fish for them every single day and they just get to sit back and relax, they'll say, hey, yeah, you fish, you make the food, and I'll just eat it. How about that? Great plan. But at the end of the day, it's better for people and society if we teach people how to fish and they go out and earn their own keep. That way, if you want more food, you just got to work more. You know, if you want that nice car, you just got to work more or be smart enough to do something that's going to earn you more money. And if it earns you more money, hopefully it will earn the society more money and push society forward. So, like, if you create a new innovation and you become a billionaire now, and that's going to help all of society, like, you know, whoever came up with the idea of like cell phones and those kinds of things. And but yeah, like you said, most people, especially the people coming to this country, they're coming here for economic reasons. Not, I don't believe that they're coming here, and this doesn't go for all of them, of course, but there's a large
Well, it's
portion. Yeah, there's a
go
large
ahead.
there's a
Sorry.
large portion that are coming to this country because people migrate due to economics. They migrate due to resources. You know, in the past, if you lived in a little village and your village ran out, like you lived next to a stream of water and the water just dried up. Well, I think it's time to move. It's, you know, otherwise we'll die. So we got to move to the next place. And when we run out of resources there, we move on to the next one. And people do the same thing with nowadays. Like you will move to a different place or a different country if there's more money to be had or if it's a nicer area or whatever. Um,
Right. I don't know why people think it's an accident that quote unquote refugees go through 11 different nations to finally settle at Sweden, which gives them the biggest gibs of any other country they previously visited. It's completely ridiculous for people to think these people are war refugees or, you know, the tired and hungry children and women from these countries. It's all battle-aged men looking for gibs so that they can send it back home.
yeah,
It's
actually,
literally it's a different way of funding the third world, and I think we should just stop.
yeah, I actually did a paper on that about like 2 years ago when this whole political crisis started and all the, you know, I was doing my I was in my class introduction to logic, and we used to get into a bunch of battles on things in there. I love getting into battles. I've always been a very Aries person at heart, and I did a paper on that. The professor wanted everyone's opinion on the Syria thing, so we all had to like research and then give our takes in class and that kinds of stuff. And I was anti that, and I always take the side of like causing a shitstorm just because life is boring. You know, I like to stir it up a little bit. You know. And so I took that side, and yeah, I did realize that according to the UN data, most of the people coming over are actually men. They're young men, so they're at the age of fighting and the age of fucking. And that's not good. So that is the age of the people that are typically invaders. They're young guys who are easily told what to do. Those are the people that used to, shoot arrows and try to take over countries. That's the age of people. But somehow nowadays we're like, oh well, we're so like first world that we're just gonna like forget all that. We're just going to, we're gonna be nice. Oh God. Though I think the difference nowadays is there's two kinds of people. There's fools, and then there's like people that are going to give tough love. It's not like we're unemotional robots, but I think we're pragmatists, we're realists, and we're not idiots. But on the left,
Also, I have a theory about white people, and hear me out to the conclusion. I think that
white people,
we are incredibly, I don't know, sympathetic to other people. Actually, no, altruistic. We're incredibly altruistic, and I think it's becoming pathological. And I think with women having less and less kids, they're focusing more and more on what to be altruistic about, what to save, what to rise above. What underdog should I support? What puppy needs to be fed? And with that, and with more control of women in politics and things like that, we're just getting more and more into the mire of the Gib machine and the altruism machine, which used to be beneficial for white people until we started taking care of the entire rest of the world, and now it's just detrimental.
yeah, and I mean, there's a there's a there's a good thing about that because the people on the left who believe that kinds of stuff, they're not really reproducing. These are the kinds of people that are like, oh well, I don't have a kid around because I just moved out of my house, and if I have a kid, then there goes, my life. Like I want to live my life. I want to be degenerate. I want to do what I want to do. And most of these people are not having kids, or they're part of the LGBT community, which means they're definitely not having kids, and they're all part of that. So the good thing from biological perspective, I believe, is that these people will not pass on their whole, like you said, their whole like muffiels, and hopefully people on the right, we're gonna have a whole lot of kids, and we could pass on the ideology of like, hey, like we don't want you to be a hateful piece of shit. Like don't be stupid, but we just want you to, behave like other people. Like, look, we're part of a group. We're pro our own people. We're not anti anybody, but we're pro our people, and we're not idiots. So if like this is our space, um, we just want to be kind of like left alone, so to speak, and hopefully maybe that gets passed down in genes because people on the left just aren't reproducing, or their kids are probably getting red pilled over to our side. So I love to I love to throw data at the left about the new stuff where millennials are like when it comes to going to the Democrats or Republicans, they're about like even now. It's like 39-39, and then I don't know what the other percentage is. I guess other, and then Gen Z obviously is very right wing. But the problem is this data is basically on white males, I think. So when people talk about Gen Z, we're not talking about all of Gen Z. We're talking about mainly the white kids, unfortunately.
Yeah, I actually have a nephew who's Gen Z, and he's teaching me all about what Gen Z is like, and I have high hopes for that fucking generation. Sorry, I don't actually mean to swear, but I just do sometimes. But I can really, I guess, confirm the studies that Gen Z is becoming more conservative and more traditionalist, just based on anecdotal evidence and seeing what I'm seeing online. I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think it's the pendulum is swinging, so it's swinging to the right, and the left is doing everything in their power to shut us down. They're censoring us. They're kicking you off YouTube. They're kicking you off Twitter. They're kicking you off YouTube and Twitch and all of that stuff. But I think most people, and this counts a lot of normies, don't really, when they're like, why did so and so get censored? And you're like, oh, well, he posted a meme about, I don't know, something. And they're like, really? That seems a little over the top. So I think at this point, normies are going to start to get hit. And I think there's two ways to go about the censorship. It's to, for us to make our own platforms, like Gab, for instance, or Minds.com, or one of my friends has a thing called PewTube to do the capitalist route, right? The capitalism fixes everything sort of
Yeah, no, I
ANCAP thing.
agree the market should correct itself, but I also think that with the time that we have with Trump in office specifically, what my main goal is to shift the Overton window as far right as possible. And that's no easy matter, but it's happening slowly. But yeah, that, and also, I guess getting rid of corporatism and corporatism censorship on social media platforms would be fucking phenomenal, because that's what got Trump in office. And if that goes away, we're just gonna be sitting ducks. I guess we're gonna be a bunch of heads with no voices.
Yeah, so I guess there's two ways. Some people, I heard like Paul Nealon and some people, even Vincent, and I don't know if there's anyone else, but they've talked about like doing legislation of making sure that no one can get censored on the internet. Basically, saying that they feel like Twitter and these places, since they're treated like a public forum, they should be since they're treated that way, they should be seen that way by the law, and that way no one could get censored. So I guess there's two ways of going about it. You could basically regulate it, or big government. Big government's bad. Or you can do the capitalist way. But the capitalist way, it's always a little murky. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I like to talk about like the supplement companies, because obviously it's like capitalism can fix every problem, but that's before like 100 people get really sick or catch E. coli or something, right? That's before a bunch of people get killed. But then the government's not that very good at regulating things either. So it's like which one, and that's a whole nother thing. But I see someone in the chat talking a little bit of shit. I love me some good poo. So A Cab says, "Bro, you're not even white. You're Asian." End of story. Technically, I am Asian. That's true. But I am not the Hapa or any of that kinds of stuff. It's actually funny that I don't know if he was calling me Asian, but at the same time, he can't see anyone else. So who else would he be talking about?
I don't know. I'll post my arm and 23andMe post.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's all Jewish anyways.
Oh, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish, or was that a joke?
No, I'm not
Oh,
Jewish.
okay.
I'm calling 23andMe Jewish.
Oh yeah, if you go to 23andMe, they'll find some way to say you're half black and half Jewish, even though you probably have blonde hair and blue eyes.
I have blonde hair, blue eyes, and a red beard. And I did my test. It was 99.8% European. And then they were like, "Oh, but hold on. There's this 0.2% that's East Asian. So you must be a fucking Hapa." I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, how would you even have that 0.
0.2%? I don't know. I honestly don't know. No one in my fucking family, no genealogical report ever told me how I'm fucking part Asian, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know how that would be possible, because like if you mixed in like you had an ancestor that went out with like a Japanese person, and then let's say and then from there it was all European after that. Like how far would you have to go to make it to where there was like no East Asian left in the DNA whatsoever? Probably a lot, like maybe 6 to 8 generations or something like that. Now he's saying you're out of the ethno state, David. Oh my gosh. I'm out. That's fine. Look, guys, I'm just fighting for the truth. I'm not I like to jump into these conversations if I have to be kicked out of the ethno state, unlike the rest who say, "Wait a second, this goes against me. This goes against my self-interest." Unlike those people, I'm not going to pull that whole, well, if it's anti-me, I'm against it. If I have to throw myself into the fire like the great Heracles to become a god, then that is what I will do, because that is the right thing to do. And yeah, that's the kind of the mindset.
I'm not a purity spiralist, but I think if you're advocating for the 14 words, I think you're doing something right, even if you're not fully white. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I can kind of see that mindset, like, because it's like oh, what the, that was kind of weird. Buzzy181, $5. That Okay, that audio was weird. Okay, thank you for the $5. David, will you ever run for office? Well, people always ask me. I think they want me to run. They always say, "Oh, David, like you're a well-mannered person. You could talk. You're easy on the eyes, that kinds of stuff." But I don't know, because I like being able to act how I ever want to act. I don't like being held down by anyone. I don't like people telling me what to do, what I can and can't say. And when you run for office, you do have to discipline yourself. You do have to make sure you're reading off a script that you have to, like, you can't run as Trump because no one here has $1 billion. So it's like, and I've heard people say this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go into office," even though I have all these sound clips that people can just cut and edit out there right now. And I have all this dirt out there. I've said these controversial things that most people would not be for. But then they'll say, "Oh, well, if Trump did it, I can do it." It's like, wait a second, dude. You're not Trump. You don't have all these connections. You're not a billionaire. This was probably one of the most well-liked people in the United States, and they somehow turned him into a white supremacist. It's like insane the amount of power that the media has. And I mean, this is a guy who Barack Obama in his own book.
Media and echo quotes.
Yeah.
Just for,
Yeah, it was like Barack Obama in his book said that President or Donald Trump is basically the manifestation of the American dream. He turned $1 million into like $4 billion. This is a guy who was kind of a political figure. He was friends with Roger Stone and all of that stuff. He got into Hollywood, so he not only did he make himself a billionaire in real estate, but he also became a celebrity. He also became a very successful reality star with the show The Apprentice. He's a great golfer. He has businesses in golf. Well liked by everybody. He went on an Oprah show. Even Oprah was like, "Oh, are you gonna run for president? Are you gonna do it?" Oh my God! If he had run for president that time, oh my God, the left would have like said that the left would be like, "He's totally the God Emperor. He's the best." Like if they went with Democrat Trump, like they would, it would be like the amount of ass kissing they would do is just ridiculous. But because he said, "You know what? I'm the same person you guys have all loved, but I'm going to run as a right-wing person," all of a sudden they paint him as all these things. Like, just ask these people. Like, just ask them, like, "So before Trump ran, what was your thoughts of him?" And they would probably have no thoughts whatsoever. Like, this whole, he's a Nazi, he's a white supremacist, all this bullshit, it's all just propaganda. This is the same crap that we as humans have been hit with ever since the beginning of politics. Ever since, there was someone in power and people would just talk shit. So it really is kind of crazy the power they have. And even someone like Trump has even admitted that, like, if I can tell myself, like, to go back in time and tell myself what to do, I'd probably say not to run, because the amount of shit that has happened since is just, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, to be honest, I think this might not win me any friends, but I think Trump is like a New York liberal, but he also advocated for a lot of stuff that I liked as an American. I think he was more of a hand grenade that I wanted to go off in the middle of fucking Congress, in the middle of Washington, D.C., just to throw a fucking wrench in the whole machinery, which he's done, and I'm very happy about. And I think if he gets half of what he said he's going to do done, I'll be a happy man for voting for him.
Yeah, I fully support him. I was actually one of those people that supported him. There's a lot of people out there trying to become celebs that never voted for him. They were Bernie people. Watch out for those people. But yeah, I full on support him. It wasn't a meme, wasn't a joke, wasn't a troll, as Ice Poseidon said. I really believed in the cause. I went out there and did activism, and I really tried to talk to people. Um, yeah, this was something I actually believed in, and yeah, I'm proud to. Whenever I have kids, I'll tell them like, "Hey, I was part of that whole shit show. I was like going down to stuff. I believed in it. It's kind of like people, uh, like boomers or Gen Z people in the past. They would tell their kids, "Oh, I was part of the civil rights movement, and I got hit with the water, or I got bit by the dog, or whatever." Like they were proud of at least fighting for something, even though they were, fighting to break the country down step by, little stone by stone, right? But
Yeah, I don't have anything personally against Donald Trump. I voted for him. I will vote for him again. I think he's been doing amazing things. I don't think he's I don't know. I don't think he's the 4D chess master that a lot of people make him out to be, but I think that he thinks things through and he applies the art of the deal whenever he can. And he's looking out for people that are forgotten. That whole meme is not a meme. I mean, that's why people voted for him in the Midwest, is the forgotten man, the white working class. I think that was a huge awakening for a lot of people, a huge red pill that America is no longer, pulling for the white man. They're actively antagonistic to him at this point, especially the minorities and the people coming south of the border and the coastal elites, the liberals and stuff like that. I think they're actively against white people. And I think people are finally waking up to that fact that have been voting Democrat for years and years and years.
yeah, and another thing I don't like too is like a lot of the alt-righters, they'll go and they'll say, "Oh, well," like they'll get really, really mad when Trump does something. And it's like I'm totally fine with if something goes against what you want, you're gonna attack them. You should do that, right? But my thing is they do this whole like, "Oh, he's like, he's not our guy anymore," and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a second. Like he never said he was all right. He never said he was like pro-white or pro Spencer or anything like that. So I'm like, look, you could criticize him, you could dislike him and all that kinds of stuff, but he never said he was like your guy. He's basically a civic nationalist, which for a boomer is very edgy. So for him to even be a civic nationalist, someone who I think the reason why the alt right thinks he's their guy is because he's very liberal in the way that he wants people to be treated the same. He doesn't like that white people are being discriminated against, so that's why he'll do things that might be pro that. But at the end of the day, I do think he's a very colorblind person. He wants merit immigration coming here. He wants people to be hired based off merit, not color, and that kinds of stuff. So he's a civic nationalist person. You can criticize him, but don't say like, "Oh, he's not our guy anymore," or someone's in control of him. Because obviously Kushner is not a good guy. He's being funded by Soros, and he's, from what I've heard from Brian Dawson, Kushner is like part of some like weird kind of like mafia family, so that he's not a good guy. And
Kushner is 100% a Jew.
well, yeah, I mean that's true, but but based off the things I've heard, he's not a good guy, and so having that guy in his ear, including that of like John Bolton, not a good thing. There's a lot of not good people surrounding Trump, which I think the biggest problem is we don't have a whole lot of people with credentials that could get in there, but I think we should start hiring people without credentials. I kind of liked, that guy Scaramucci, when he went in there, he didn't have any credentials, but he kind of like he was a loyal guy, so he went out there and he was doing what he needed to do. I think we need more.
I mean, look at sleepy Ben Carson. Is it Ben Carson?
NyQuil Carson.
The based black Department of Housing.
Yeah.
Kanye West.
Yeah, Kanye West. He's like, I'm going to raise rent because people need to get their ass in gear. And I was like, this guy, give him an award. He had no credentials like previously. I mean, before he started running for office, he was a brain surgeon. So I'm sure he was a smart black-based gentleman who read Siege and who read, white or black rednecks and white liberals. I'm sure he is one of those guys, but at the same time, he had no qualifications, and he went in there and he was like, guess what will get these people out of poverty? Raising rent and kicking them out of fucking government housing. That was amazing. I love him for that.
Well, with me, as long as you're not a puppet of someone else financially, like if we look into your donors and it's nothing from Saudi Arabia or anything foreign, uh, and you have common sense, so you're saying things that make sense and you're not being controlled. But that's who we need to be putting in office. We can't have people going in there who are like John Kerry, who are, from what I've heard, being like completely paid off by like APAC and these groups. There should be no foreign influence. It's common sense. Do you want your leaders who are in control of you to be taking money from other countries? You know, if you were to say that Donald Trump was taking foreign money from Russia, people would be up in arms. But when it comes from Saudi Arabia or Israel or anywhere else, or from any of these lobbyists that come in there from, you know, various countries like Egypt and many places, it's a whole different discussion. Like I think that's one of the number one problems, and that is why our representatives are acting as if they're representatives from other countries instead of from our own. It's coming from the money. People will sell their souls for money, and it's one of the problems with having a republic, is that the representatives will get bribed. You know, it's the same problem that Rome had, and it's why Julius Caesar wanted to become a dictator and all that kinds of stuff. It's because republics, the weakness to a republic is corruption, unfortunately, and that's the main thing we really have to fight. I didn't read the super chat, right? Sorry about that.
Yeah, you got super chat. You didn't read about the ethno state.
Oh, really? Okay, so Chris Kaiser, $5. Thank you, sir. Would you consider a joint white/Asian ethno-state in the Northwest U.S.? That's 80% of the population. If so, would you take the mantle of supreme leader? Okay, wait a second. I don't know why you guys think I'm like Asian. So I'm 8% Filipino, just 8%. So I guess I could use the Asian card. I like anime. I really love anime. I go to the Anime Expo. I've been doing it the past 3-4 years. And I used to eat top ramen all the time when I was a kid. I grew up a poor little kid. So I was eating top ramen, and I had to try to make weight for Pop Warner football. So I used to be skin and bones, because if you weigh so much, you have to go play with the older kids. So I wanted to play with my own people, the kids my own age. I wanted to be part of, everyone wants ethno-states when it comes to age, right? We want to have age brackets, the same kids, the same ages. We don't want the high school kids playing with elementary kids, right? Discrimination. We're not that progressive yet, but hopefully we'll get there one day. But I do a lot of Asian stuff, I guess, anime and yeah, but I'm not, your mom is Filipino. I guess. I mean, where else would I get it from, right? I mean, my dad was actually a blonde hair, blue eyes guy. So, yeah, I mean, the Filipino, yeah, it comes from my mom, and it comes from my grandma, who I think is a Hapa, actually. She's like half Spanish, half Filipino, but that's without doing a 23andMe test. So if we do the 23andMe, she's probably like, we'll probably find out she's actually like 50% African and the other 50 is probably Jewish or something along those lines. Dragon Ball Z is badass. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Super. I was watching that episode to episode. Let's see what else is in here. But I don't know. I shouldn't be in charge of any Asian/European coalition ethno-state or whatever. Well, first of all, the whole point of ethno-states is to, keep a person of a certain ethnicity, existing, right? You see in zoos, you see these rare animals like the white tigers and these things, and people want them to continue existing. So you don't want them to reproduce with anything else. You want them to reproduce with its own kind so you can keep it alive, right? With pandas, they try to make the pandas reproduce, even though it's really difficult. They try to make them reproduce so we can all have pandas that we can watch little videos of them rolling around, and we try to keep them existing. But when it comes to anything. Like, look, I'm for equality and all that. So if you have only like, European places that are being infiltrated by other groups, but then you look at their own countries and it's not the same way. I mean, that doesn't seem fair to me. Like, I like fair. I like, if you treat me one way, I'll treat you the same way. If you're gonna treat me bad, I'm gonna treat you bad. If you're gonna bring your people to my country, I should do the same thing to yours. So and not only that, but it doesn't make sense. Like, even if you're like oh well, one day the entire world will be brown and all that, and it's like, well, that's like saying like one day you're gonna get cancer. You don't know that for sure. And if you keep your immigration policy a certain way, there's nothing to say that your people will ever turn anything else other than what it is. I was kind of listening to Chris Warski and Adam Warski kind of getting into it, and that was kind of, Chris was doing the whole, and I used to talk about this all the time. You can't use the whole, it's about the culture. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I completely agree. Like, I'm not about any race stuff. All I care about myself is values, culture, and tradition. But those things at the moment, according to data from voting polls and other stuff, it shows that basically as a, libertarian for the most part, the people who, if I were to look around at all the libertarians, they're all the same people. So if those same people are gone, those values are gone. So you have to support the people that support your values if you want your values to exist. And it seems like everyone understands that, but these like Jordan Peterson, like white people, they don't get that. And then if you take the next step over that, then you would say, well, where does culture come from to begin with? And I think the only thing that makes sense is there's some sort of biological uniqueness that culture comes from. And it's also environmental too. Like if you have a certain food that you and your people eat, it comes from what is around you, right? So if your people are eating nothing but plants and vegetables and all that, it's probably because there's no meat or other things around. And at some point, your body will evolve to eat those things over the course of generations and all that. And that'll become part of your culture, is that you eat certain foods. And but I do think though, it's like, well, why do white people have a culture like this, and why do Asians have a culture like this, and why do Africans have a culture like this, and why do South Americans have a culture like this, and why are they so vastly different? Like if we were to place all South Americans with Africans and we raise them the same way South Americans act, will they behave the same exact way? Will the country for the next 100 years look the same? I would say no, just because people are different on a internal level, even though they can have the same, like you can find like black people who have the same accents, they have the British accent, they could speak English, they grew up there, they understand the culture and these things. But at the same time, there's a difference there. They start to create their own subcultures. They start to have their own music. They start to say words differently, like UB and, Ebonics times. And we're not talking about all of them either. But we're starting to see, differences. And you could say that there's differences with whites too, with, like white people from Kansas are definitely different than the ones from California and these things. But I do think that there is a group in biological, like connection. There's like a consciousness where people, there's like a connection there. Like people within your family, like would you be surprised if you had a friend and you knew the husband and wife and they're your friends, and then they have a kid and you look at that kid and he looks similar to his family. He behaves like, hey, you kind of act like your dad, or you're pretty good at this, like your dad was or your mom was. And is it a surprise? It's like when you're similar in DNA, you tend to have more similarities and differences. And I think really that's what people should be thinking about. People that tend to look a certain way were raised a certain way. When they were raised a certain way, usually they hold the same sort of values and those kinds of things. That's kind of my mindset. I'm still reading articles and looking at data just like everybody else. But yeah, I would say whoever supports my values, whoever is on my side on the right, that's who I consider to be a friend. So if I had to have an ethno state or something like that, I would say I just want all the people on the right to be in the ethno state, and I want all the people on the left to not be in the ethno state. And I'm sure you guys would like the demographics of that anyways, because I think we understand what the demographics of the right would look like, and you guys would like it. And I just want fellow right wingers in there. I don't really care what they look like or any of that stuff. And technically, if we're getting into what I think, I just think the America of the past of the immigration before 1965, where it was just all Europeans coming in, and it wasn't an ethno state. It was similar to Japan. It was just like we're gonna be like 90% this, and we'll take people in. That's kind of the way I would have it. I don't want a new country. Like I'm not for creating a new country. I'm for what our founders wanted, and our founders, according to the immigration that they were bringing into this country, they wanted basically Europeans. They even said at one point that it was like white man of good character or good morals, and I think they switched it to good character or the other way around. And so they very much wanted Europeans coming into the country because they wanted more people with similarities than differences. Because at one point, the difference between Irish people and English people was very, very big, right? I think Irish people were actually seen as like subhuman or something like that. So that was a huge difference just between people of the same group. They were just of different ethnicities. But now, obviously now people are trying to say, even though we had differences with them, things have gotten like so crazy to where, we're all, Irish and English are basically part of the same team now. And now it's like the discussions of whether, East Asians, Africans, South Americans, and Europeans are all equally biologically the same. So things have gotten that kind of, crazy on a talk. Like people in the past never, they never had those ideas. And I think it was because they were thinking on more of a biological standpoint. Like we're part of a team, you're part of a team. If we, if we let in too many of your people into our country, you guys will start to take over. You guys will start to vote for your own benefit, and which will go against ours, and it'll turn into these tribal wars. And I think we're starting to see that today, especially with a lot of the, I'll say, refugees and people like that who are coming into like Michigan, I think it was. They come in and they create these no-go zones. It's their ethno state now. It's our land now, right? They come in, they did that. And if you look in demographics too, even if it's block to block in some areas, you'll see the whole demographics of one block is all one way. You see like little tiny ethno states, like little, that's Guatemala over there. That's Mexico. That's Africa. That's Little Tokyo. It's called Little Tokyo, right? Tokyo. Little China over there. And so we're getting all these tribes, and they all have their spears out. And it's I think what we're going to see is these Jordan Peterson guys run out and be like, guys, no fighting. We're all just humans. And then someone's going to throw a spear, and it's going to go right through his chest. And then the other white guys are going to go, fuck that. And they're just they're going to jump into their whole thing, get their spears out. And I don't know. I don't know if things will ever get that far. I'm kind of just joking around here. But so I've seen little tiny little race wars. Like when I was at the White Privilege Seminar, that was a race war if you were to look at the demographics there. No one got hurt, which was good, but yeah, there's tribalism. It's like, I'm part of a group and I'm voting whatever way right equals benefits me, wrong equals goes against my group. It's either for my group is right, or if it goes against my group, it's wrong. And I even talked to an Indian guy the other day. And he actually, he very much admitted, he said, look, I came to this country because I wanted to be part of a country that was very individualistic. I wanted to behave in any way I wanted. I didn't want to be judged by anyone else. And he says that's why he liked America so much. We had a great conversation. He was a psychology major. I told him to look into Jordan Peterson. And yeah, he said that. And he says, unfortunately, like most of the world, I think he said not the West. They're very collective. They're very ethnocentric, You look at Japan, China. There's a reason why they're homogenous societies, and they don't let in refugees or things like that. I actually saw a quote saying it will affect our it'll affect our country essentially. I don't know if they said it in an ethno way, but they just said, "Look, it's gonna hurt our country. Therefore, we're not taking them." Israel, from what I've seen, is also very ethnocentric. Africa is basically all black except for South Africa, but that's gonna change real soon. And yeah, it just seems like everyone's playing by a team. Everyone's like, "Hey, pass me the ball," and they're all playing this. But on our side, we're just like punching right, like, "No, I got the ball," and we're trying to fight over the ball. And this individualism stuff. Look, I'm for doing what you want behind closed doors in your time, but when you go out, you have to just don't be an idiot. We're playing this whole one versus five. It's not good. That's just in a sports sense. That's just stupid. Um, what do you guys have to say in all this? I went on a long rant there for a while. Holy crap, ML Nikra! I see this thing you posted. That's a really good. What would that be called? Oh crap! I can't hear you again. What is going on? Let me pull you out and I'll pull you back in. Oh, okay. Hello? What is going on? I can't hear you. It's just so weird. Like I can hear you for a while, but then I can't. Oh, okay. So Grizzly Saxon, his went out too. Okay, so hello? Grizzly. Okay, I can't hear you, ML Nickra. I think you're gonna have to go into your settings and reset your mic, because that's what
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah, that's so weird. Were you talking?
Yeah, before, but I blacked out because you couldn't hear me.
Oh, okay. I just thought I wanted to rant, and you guys decided to just let me get it out of my system.
No, I mean I wanted you to do that too, but also I thought you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
But yeah, I mean I think we've given Africa billions and billions of dollars to stand on their own feet, and it's never done anything. I don't know why we keep doing that, and I don't know why people think that's going to change in the Western Hemisphere or in Western nations. It's just not. They're completely different peoples with different culture and different customs and a different IQ level. And I don't know how people can think we can like coincide and maintain some kind of harmonious relationship with a peoples whose entire being. I can hear you.
Oh, is he talking? I can't hear ML.
Should I go on?
Oh, is he talking? Can you hear him, Grizzly?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Oh, that's so weird. I can't hear him. This is Discord right now, huh? Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt if I am, but I cannot hear you. So, how did you fix your mic, Grizzly?
I just left and came back.
Oh, okay.
It seems to drop audio. I guess on YouTube side for a little while, and then.
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can?
Yes.
Is that a ye or a knee?
That's a ye.
I can hear you, definitely.
What's your
All right,
take?
listen, call Baked Alaska's mom a whore if you can hear me.
Baked Alaska's mom's a whore.
Yeah, she was a nice lady. I met her.
Well, she may not be a whore, but she definitely produced a son who has to be the product of a brothel.
I feel bad.
Are you calling him a bastard?
I wouldn't call him a legitimate threat to the right.
Well, that's
nice.
I think the number one problem in America is bastards, though. Right.
I mean, look, I don't know my own father. I'm adopted, but that doesn't make me a shit-tard. Me being a shit-tard does.
Yeah. But I think there's studies that show that bastards tend to commit more crime than anyone else.
Yeah, I can easily see that, considering how many daddy issues our generation has.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. What is it like? 70% of the black populace is raised without a father, and what 23 something percent now of the white populace is raised without a father. And we're just being raised. We're just raising up these fucking soy boys.
Well, see, I was adopted, so I fall in a weird category of never meeting my biological father, but like at the same time, never met my biological mother. Was adopted at birth. Never dealt with orphanage shit. So the people who raised me very like Judeo-Christian and right-wing conservative. So yeah, I think that had I been in a different and had I been raised by different people who didn't have strong values and beliefs, I would have definitely been fucked.
I would say, though, if you ever get the chance to meet your real mom, probably don't do it for the sake of, I've seen stories, and it's some kind of weird syndrome where people meet their real parents for the first time, and I've heard stories of women meeting their real fathers, and there's this weird syndrome where they become super attracted to each other, and let's just leave it at that. But, like, it's not
that's
good.
just weird.
It is really
Yeah,
weird.
I don't understand that whole like mentality of our generation going towards that either. Because if you think about it, people have had to been adopted. I mean, basically, kids when they were kicked out basically came back and got adopted by the state for the most part. So I mean, adoption's been around for a while. It's the incesty part that kind of seems to be like somewhat of a reoccurring theme in modern time, albeit we have stories of Rome and Greece and places like that where you have some of the epics. There's what was it? They have a syndrome for people who want to like fuck their mom. What's the term? See, my girlfriend's even like,
what is it? That Greek person. It's named after that.
Not Asophiles or something like that, but it's some like Greco-Roman name. I know it's going to drive me nuts too.
Yeah, no, Freud talked about that in depth in his books. I know.
Well,
I know
Freud also admitted to wanting to fuck his own mom, which is pretty fucking bizarre when you consider the fact that he's considered the master of psychology.
Psychologists, I don't understand them. They used to like literally torture people and peel out brain pieces by sticking needles in people's heads.
Oh, I'm ADHD, so they would have put me on like one of those like spastic giant hamster wheels, and either forced me to run inside it, or would have forced it to run while I'm not running, just so I can just get flipped around. They're like, "Are you tired yet, fucktard? All right, quit being ADHD."
They probably just take a piece out of your frontal lobe and then see what happens.
I suggest those people.
The Oedipus complex.
That's what it is, Oedipus complex.
Oedipus. Damn Oedipus. Oh, they said in the chat, Oedipus complex because Oedipus had sex with his mother by mistake. That's probably, that sounds like a story. Oh, yeah, I read that story. Yes, sure, I know that story.
Like he did it on purpose, not mistake.
Oh, there was a book on it actually. That was a story on that actually. Oh, you know what? Hey, you guys keep the conversation going. There's a birthday party going outside, so I'm gonna go do the song really quick. Keep it going though on this incest talk. I'm sure the chat likes it.
I doubt they like.
I'm pretty sure Dr. Strangelove is losing his mind right now.
I don't know. I think it's a problem that a lot of people are searching this shit in the Midwest and other places in the U.S. It's like the top searched porn is like fucking family fucking. I'm like, what the fuck is happening in our nation?
I think it's really weird that we had Ted Cruz of all people tweet out like literally incest porn. And it was like, oh, sorry.
Did he? I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you Google search right now? Ted Cruz tweets out an actual Pornhub link in Twitter.
I'm afraid to do that. The FBI is watching me 24/7.
If I'm not mistaken, I literally think it was gay incest porn or something like that. Like something to where you would definitely look at Ted Cruz and be like, yeah, I don't want to hear you speak again.
But all the memes, man, all the memes made him look like he was a full Trumpite. I don't know. I think he's pure, right?
I mean, isn't this the same dude who, like, I think it was when Obama was running, wasn't this the same clown who fucking, like, cheated on his wife who was in a wheelchair?
Oh God, is he?
I mean, like, I don't know. I could have that mistaken, but I'm pretty sure, like, both instances came from the same dude at some point. Like, I'm sorry, but the Republican and like right parties need to wake the fuck up and stop electing this asshole. We already realize the left is corrupted. We don't need to corrupt ourselves with people like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've had a really soft showing of representation of the right for a long time, and as far as I know now, it's just a choice between neocons and people on the further right, and people on the further right aren't winning enough support because the Overton has not shifted enough. So we're
also
kind of stuck.
Off topic here, but happy 5th of mayonnaise to all the Mexicans.
Oh yeah, what was that phrase?
It's Cinco de Mayo. It's apparently where like Mexico won independence, but I find this interesting. Why the fuck are you celebrating that in Texas? We definitely whooped y'all's ass in the Spanish-American War, and that's why Texas is Texas.
All these millennials getting drunk as fuck for Mexico independence, and I'm like, you guys are fucking terrible. You guys are like I don't know, traitors. I don't know how else to say it, but if you're celebrating this shit,
I feel like these are the same demographics from like South Africa who are like, decolonize. You need to decolonize. You need to decolonize the whole country. No more Western science. Only voodoo and black magic. And I feel like the same people who try to kick out, like, like who are allowing a lot of shit to go down, they take that same fucking retarded leftist, like, I live in bullshit land, I need no data, like, mentality. Because it's like here in Texas, it is literally celebrated as, like, some people celebrate it as Texas is still a part of Mexico. There are protests to annex Texas back to Mexico. That's a fucking thing.
But that's what people are like drinking for. Like that's what millennials and like I'm a millennial and I don't like to identify as a millennial. I'm going to use the SJW approach and be like, I identify as Gen X or I don't know something else other than millennial because we've given ourselves such a fucking terrible name.
Well, here's the thing. It's like my I don't want to say I'm a millennial because the edgy thing to do now is overdose on heroin and cry about your feelings while you go and protest the fucking president and call for the eradication of borders and for people who have no business being here to be here. It's like, yeah, that's a little fucking hard.
Sexual, trans.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Like my whole stance on that shit is basically like, listen, nobody's fucking making the argument that trans people aren't people. Obviously, fucking human beings are human beings. Like, we are not literally that fucking retarded. The fact that the left has to boil it down for the majority to that exact argument is retarded. To the example that they use that I've most commonly heard is examples like zebra mussels. Zebra mussels in Mississippi can change their sex at will. However, in the same fucking case, they need a doctor to make a Bruce Jenner a Caitlyn Jenner. So if a zebra mussel in nature can do this biologically, and it can switch its sex, same with the clownfish. Like, I'm in the weird category where I feel like Finding Nemo was a fucking prop. Yeah. I feel like it was a big prop to get people.
Finding Nemo is like the number one argument against like science that I have when I'm talking to these fucking trannies in DC. They're like, but clownfish do it, and I'm like, you're not a fucking clownfish.
Well, my stance is like, I'm 100% for if we can do this in nature, because if we could do this biologically in nature, we could make ourselves do this. We could solve other problems beyond just changing our fucking gender, which are way the hell more important. Like, I don't know, making sure our vets can regrow fucking limbs. I'm pretty sure inverting a penis to a vagina does not compare to regrowing human fucking limbs for our soldiers, which seems like a way the hell better use of time and science than trying to turn a dick into a vagina. I'm not necessarily a super religious person. I don't think we should play God with everything, But damn it, if you can give a man gills and make him swim underwater, I'm 100% for it. However, if you're trying to turn dick into a vagina, like, I kind of have to sway away from it.
So we're talking about dicks and vaginas now?
Yeah,
Oh.
we took over your stream. Now we're just talking about fucking genitals.
Gotcha. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, if this is a literal wound, by the way, when you do this transition from male to female, this is a wound that you have to forcibly keep open and keep from being infected, because it is literally an open wound. That is not normal, and that is not natural in any sense of the word. Stop pretending.
Well, and I mean, like, even if
You can't even reproduce.
yeah, I was gonna. My girlfriend just she just said my point for me, which is they can't even reproduce. So it's like, let's say the clownfish biologically changes its sex to carry on the species, which could be, from a leftist argument to play devil's advocate, could be very, very easily be used to say, so this would help promote an ethno state. Let's go on the off chance bullshit leftist, like, far end extreme, and let's play that card. Okay, how do you fucking reproduce? Oh, you actually can't, and you're not going to be able to because you're not a fucking clownfish. And it goes right back to that exact same argument. Even in a perfect world where they want to fucking succumb and try to play by our rules, the science will never add up to what they're asking for, and the numbers will never add up.
All right, the chat hates the tranny stream.
Yeah, they don't like it. And Chris Kaiser says the birthday song was written by Nazis and song while undressing the 6 billion. How could you? It's part of my culture.
Very easily,
to sing
there were candles on
song.
the cake we had to sing.
Yeah, you had to wish to whatever your deity is, and you had to blow them out. It's part of our culture.
No, I mean, the left can't meme. It also can't science. It has to make up shit to justify their fucking degenerate bullshit every fucking time.
Well, if someone cuts their dick off and they're not on our side, that's good. They're not creating any more voters for their side, which is good, because they're going to create a voter, and then they're going to brainwash them, and then they're going to send them to schools and indoctrinate them even further. And I don't want my enemies to be creating soldiers. I want to have more soldiers than them. So that's my mindset. So if you want to cut your dick off, and it's fine by me, as long as you're not on our side.
I mean, there's almost a 100% chance they're not on our side, though. So,
well, I mean, but how are they? The real question is, how do they reproduce? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they if all these gay people join their side, if all these people, stop the ability to produce, like, if we look at a lot of these leftists who, the birth rate to death rate in some communities, specifically black, is literally higher because of Planned Parenthood, we almost don't have to do anything but sit back, record, and watch to document for our kids to laugh at.
And talking about demographics, like, liberals don't have children. What is, like, their fertility rate is, 0.7? Is that right? And, like, conservatives or right-leaning peoples in the United States, and I think across the globe, is something like 2.3 or 2.5. Liberals are literally breeding themselves out at an alarming rate, and it's fantastic. The development of birth control could be the best thing that has ever happened to the human race.
And that's why Analytical Chick here in the comments, she says they import their soldiers. So that is probably why they want open borders, because they understand that their side are not reproducing. So if we're talking about the long game, if they were to play it the whole, Europeans coming into this country and all that, they would most likely lose more, because our people, as you said, we have larger families, and on the left they tend to have no kids or only a few kids in general, and a lot of them abort their kids, and a lot of them chop their stuff up, or they get a lot of STDs and all that stuff, or they want to live their life as themselves. They don't want to be held down by children. So if they weren't importing people into this country that were primarily going to vote for them, they would have no chance of victory in our country. And maybe that's why they're so for open borders and all this immigration.
What do you think the zebra mentality, I call it, has kind of bitten them in the ass? And what I mean by that is, you take 1,000 of these SJWs at a protest, dyed hair, Antifa, take off the mask. Like, on the off chance we all see their faces, and line up 1,000 of them. it's going to be hard for us to tell them apart besides name tags. And almost the edgiest, most unique, individualistic thing that you can do now is not dye your hair, not get gauges, not get piercings, not get tattoos. Literally be straight, be white, be a male, and have a Bible. And that is like the edgiest thing now.
And that's what Gen X is doing. They're being edgy by being fucking traditionalist, which I never thought could be possible, but that's what's happening.
But don't
amazing to
yeah,
see.
but don't go full retard traditionalist, because at my school there's these guys that come and and we see them at all the big events. Like you go to anime expos, you go to the Grand Prix, every gigantic event. I see these guys there. They have their little signs. They show up with a group. They have microphones and they're saying, "Oh, you're gonna go to hell if you don't do this or that." And they trigger the shit out of people. I've seen so many of them almost break out into fights with large groups of people. At my school, for instance, they had like a sign saying, women are the property of men, and just like mobs of people are just screaming at them. Some are being like atheists and they're being degenerate, saying, "Oh, well, I like licking buttholes and doing all," like trying to trigger them. And then you see, gay people doing gay stuff to try to discuss them. You see women acting like degenerates. They're like, "Oh, look, I'm not trad. I'm like," and they start doing all this stuff. And I've seen almost a fight broke out last time I was there.
I would almost push the whole like, no, go shoot heroin. Like that's the most anti-trad thing. Please, like you do that in front of us, we can promise we will not support you in any way. Go for it. Get addicted. Fuck your life up. Go for it. It's the most anti-trad shit possible. If we started pushing that on them and we just flipped the script, I think they'd be like, oh yeah, that's what you hate. I'm pretty sure they'd fucking all kill themselves eventually.
Yeah. I like I said, that whole.
I just see like the whole Paul Joseph Watson meme where he's saying like conservatism is the new counterculture, or whatever. I unironically, I think he's probably onto something, but he doesn't know why.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you like anything that's European, you're probably going to trigger people. Christianity, Catholics, all that stuff. It's basically tied to Europeans. That's why you see everyone shitting on it constantly. Those people coming to my school saying women are property, they get shit on because they're white guys believing in a primarily white religion. But if they were brown guys believing in a primarily brown religion, being Islam, saying the same exact things, I guarantee you guys that they would not be getting the same hate or same mob mentality, because it all comes down to
you
that.
You just had your mic crackle really hard, FYI. I couldn't make out about half of what you said.
Did you hear the same thing, Grizzly?
David, do you want to do a mic check? Because that was
hello.
Yeah, it's
you're literally coming from Mars right now. You're aliening.
Hello.
Oh yeah, that's glitching. Maybe pull yourself up and stream and like speak for about 10 seconds, and we'll shut the hell up. That way you can hear it. Like you can hear it loop through back on your stream. Mic check, mic check.
All right, how about now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I was saying basically it comes down to ethnicity in my point of view, because at my school you have these white guys who believe in a basically primarily white religion, being like Christianity and all of that. But if you had people saying the same exact thing as women are property, and they were brown, and they believed in a primarily brown religion, being that of Islam, then you would not be seeing the same kind of hate and anger and mob mentality, because those people have been conditioned to want to attack white people that say those things. But they have not been conditioned or swayed into being comfortable to attack people who say the same thing but are not white. So you would.
This is that white Sharia meme, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Some people, the pendulum is swinging, and some people that used to be ignored or shouted out. Now they're starting to get platform because they seem similar to the people that are saying, hey, look, men and women have gender roles. We think that according to nature, men should generally, act in their gender role, and women should generally act in the way they're supposed to act. There's hunters and there's gatherers. Now, does that say every single man should act that way or every single woman should act that way? No, but I believe 95% of them should, and they will feel better if they do it. I believe that if they behave in an unnatural way, then they will get depressed. I think overheating, I think that's why it kind of bugs out after a while. Yeah, but the good thing was it restarted last time. Even though I came back on, it wouldn't restart. But let's see, Chris Kaiser with $2. Thank you, sir. Let's see support for Trump in the Asian community. From observations, I would say most Asians I've met tend to be pro-Trump, but of course you get those Falarka people who are just straight up bonkers. I saw an Asian guy the other day kind of go after those Christian people I was telling you about. I don't know. Like from the stats I've seen, most Asians tend to be for big government. Big surprise. Japan and China tend to be very big government places. So big government isn't really scary to them. I think to most places, small government is a foreign idea and they don't understand it. They understand like, oh, look, if you're anti something, just ban it. Like, that's what everyone else does. It makes sense. This whole, freedom of speech, small government, all that stuff it's like an alien idea to most people. And I think that's why you see only mainly whites for these ideas and these kinds of things. But I don't know if my computer is going to do what it did again. And not only that, but I didn't really want to do a 3-hour stream. So we're going to end it here. Do you guys have any final words? Anything you want to shout out? You guys have any YouTube channels or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, subscribe to you and subscribe to the Red Elephants and anyone else. I'll probably be starting like a podcast style channel soon, but not yet. So I have nothing to show.
Nothing yet. All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you for subbing to me. So ML, have you started up that YouTube channel? I was telling you should probably start.
I have not, because I have been a lazy bastard all day, and actually, I wasn't lazy. I cleaned the house and I cleaned the room, so and then I rode a bike for about 4 hours. So I think I just fucked off a lot of time today.
Jordan Peterson would be happy with you.
Who would be?
Jordan Peterson. You cleaned your room.
Yeah, I didn't make the bed though. I hear that's the first step to the right kind of day.
That's true, but if you have a whammon, they could do it for you. So that's kind of the cheat code right there.
See, she's laughing. I don't know if you can hear that.
Did she make you a grilled cheese sandwich with tomato soup yet?
No, she made me a type of sandwich that I cannot discuss on air.
Oh God!
It's a double super secret probation sandwich. Actually, she bought a bunch of lunch meat the other day, and I'll give her credit. We have like this little mini oven upstairs, and I threw bread in there, and she's like, here's like a quarter pound of nothing but sharp cheddar cheese. Here's like a pound of meat. Go have fun. And I was like, all right, I'll go chow down.
Just as long as there's no watermelon sandwiches, because I don't want to lose any subscribers anytime soon.
I
mean, how do you watermelon sandwich? What do you do? Like put a watermelon between other sliced watermelon?
Pronounced watermelon.
Watermelon, yep.
Oh, my girlfriend said you put it between 2 pieces of fried chicken. That's the watermelon sandwich.
So
I meant.
My girlfriend seems pretty based.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, I would say subscribe, I guess, to the White Elephant. Subscribe to the Red Elephant. Unsubscribe from Baked Alaska. If you do subscribe to Baked Alaska, immediately also unsubscribe. Go give Sargon of Akkad a big fuck you, like on Twitter. but also give him a subscribe as well. But just give him an obligatory fuck you out of nowhere.
That would be funny to go after Sargon. He seems like such a little puffly, huggable bear. So if you go, hey, can I have a hug? By the way, fuck you. And he says, oh, okay. You have your opinion. I've read Locke, so everyone's free to associate, whatever.
Also, you could disman me forever, but I think it's probably it's probably time to secure existence for people and a future for white children. I think, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
1488 is not a great debate. It is the truth.
I would like to see that debate, though. Like, if you grab someone that's 14 only, and then you get someone that's, 1488, and then you see them debate. I mean, that would be a fun little shit show, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, if you could argue what I hate about the left is with the whole "it's not okay to be white" kind of bullshit. Can be summarized into if you take the 14 and minus the 88, that can be applied to any race. And in the end, that should kind of be each race's goal would be secure a future for their children, their kind.
I mean, that's what they do.
Else.
Yeah, that's what they do on a daily basis.
But we get shit on for it.
Yeah, I was at my.
One of the biggest red pills of the 2017-18 cycle is that people were alarmed by the fact that someone posted a meme saying it's okay to be white. I think that woke more people up than a lot of things in the last couple years, and it's terrifying to me that people think that's somehow racist or wrong or stupid or whatever else they ascribe adjectives to. But it's literally saying that something should not be genocided.
Yeah, I went up to people on one stream, and I went up to them. I was trying to mainly go up to people that weren't white, and I was asking them, "Oh, is it okay to be white?" And they're like, "Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Like that seems kind of weird." Or some of them would say, "Oh yeah, well it's okay to be, Mexican or black too." And I said, "Yeah, it's okay to be all that stuff." And they're like, "Yeah." I didn't get any hate, no nothing, any of that stuff. I think I talked to more black people than anything, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Of course it's okay to be white. Like that's stupid."
I think there's a good example to back that too. If you can go look up some videos, I'd love to see you react to them, and I'll have to find them. But there's some really rich, wet, preppy white leftist liberal kids that go into the fucking hood saying Black Lives Matter, and they literally get the shit kicked out of them because people think that they're cracking a joke about Black lives.
Yeah, no, we've seen videos of this too on campuses where we had quote unquote white allies saying Black Lives Matter, and then they get BTFO'd because they're white. It's some of the funniest fucking YouTube videos I've ever seen. Is just these quote unquote allies getting beat the fuck out because they're white and they're supporting minorities. It's hilarious.
The whole everyone's equal at this Black Lives Matter rally, so all the white reporters and white people get in the back, just like you did at the buses. Well, I thought we were just equal 30 seconds ago, man.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest red pills, and actually, Black Lives Matter is it's mainly white people. I saw a couple of videos where there was just nothing but white people sitting there chanting, and then there was a couple of black people telling them to chant. And then I saw that the guy who was in charge of one of the really big Facebook Black Lives Matter page had over 100,000 people on there. And it was an Australian guy, white guy. And he was actually, I think he took over $100,000 from all these people, which is kind of smart because people on the left, they love to throw money. We know that. There's studies show that people on the left tend to financially support groups on the left, and people on the right don't. I mean, they're conservatives. They don't spend their money really; they hold on to it, and which is a good tactic. You create one of these fake pages, you take a bunch of that money, and you could put it to anywhere you want. But pretty smart stuff. It is okay to be white, guys. TW is the future. Subscribe and like. As Chris Kaiser said, you guys should do that. I think I'm going to have to cancel the stream tomorrow. I love doing these streams, but I have other priorities. This whole stream was a procrastination. Do not tell Emily, guys. But I'm going to have to say au revoir to you guys, as Emily would say, because she speaks French as JF's language. And yeah, so that's
revoir.
au revoir, guys. So we're gonna be done. Thank you guys for watching the stream. This is actually my first time ending the stream because yesterday it blew up as it did 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago, whatever have you. Analytical chick, our stream. Yeah. Well, the thing, analytical chick, is the guy you were going to debate said he wanted to push it back, and that time doesn't really fit well. But if you did tell a lot of people, we could do the debate. It has to be a very quick, like has to be from this time to that time if we do it. But we could talk in the DMs and all that stuff. For everyone else, thank you guys for watching and all that stuff. Stay white, everybody, and see you again till next time.